Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to run a Linux distro off of a USB thumb drive. So some might say, oh, well, you can just run a Linux distro off of a VM, which is true. However, there are some problems with running it off of a VM. First off, you're running two operating systems at once. You're running the host operating system, aka Windows or Mac OS, but then you're also running the Linux distro on a virtual machine. And because you've got two operating systems running at once, it's putting a lot of pressure on the computer, which is going to make the VM lag. And trust me, I've used VMs plenty of times in my life. They usually tend to be laggy and slow due to that two operating systems running at once thing. Now, if you have a computer with maybe more power, you might be able to manage with that, but my computer only has 12 gigs of RAM, so it's not too powerful. Also, having a Linux distro off on a thumb drive like this is really good because then you can take it with you. For example, if you want to, if you're at a friend's house and you want to run your Linux distro, you can just plug it into their computer and boot it up. In addition to that, if you have a laptop that, let's say you have a computer, you want to install an operating, if you want to install Linux on a computer, you can make a Linux distro on one of these drives and you can plug it into the computer to test it, and if you want to install Linux on it, you can do it off of thumb drive. So running Linux off of a thumb drive has many advantages, and I've tried it myself before and it works really well. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here we are on my desktop. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to insert your USB drive into your computer, just like so. You're going to hear sound. As you can see, here's the USB drive. It's empty. We're just gonna close that for now. What we're gonna do is you're gonna download something called Universal USB Installer. Now this is the software that's gonna install the Linux distro on your USB drive. So the USB you should be using should have maybe 8 gigabytes or more. Well, usually most USB drives are 16 gigabytes or more, so you should be good if it's below 4 gigabytes, then you probably should not use it, but again, if it's over 4 gigabytes, you should be good. So you're going to download Universal USB Installer. I already have it installed, so I don't need to download it again. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull it up. Here it is. So what you're going to do is we're going to select a distribution. As soon as we got all these, I'm going to select Ubuntu. Now real quickly, I've selected Ubuntu, I need to download it first. So we're going to go to the Ubuntu website. I'm going to download Ubuntu. Okay, so as finished downloading, what we're going to do is we are going to click Browse. We're going to go to our downloads, and we're going to select our ISO file. Now, it's in green, which means it's been approved. And what we're going to do is we're going to select the drive letter of our USB. Click Show All Drives. And we're going to select this, and we're going to select our USB drive. Now we can select a persistent file size, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to save documents and stuff on the flash drive. So I'm gonna give it. This is about 4 gigabytes, which should be plenty, given that I have a 16 gig flash drive. So that's gonna work. We're gonna click Create, and it's going to give us this little thing. We're gonna click Yes, and it's now gonna make our flash drive. Okay, so the installation is complete, which means we now have a working Linux distro on a USB thumb drive. So in order to boot off this, we're gonna first off plug it back into the computer. And what we're going to do is we are going to restart it now. So I'm going to click Restart on my computer. It's restarting. Now once it reboots up to the BIOS, what you're going to do is you're going to want to press F12 on the keyboard. So I'm going to press F12 when it displays the BIOS. Alright, so I just pressed F12. It's going to load the boot menu. So here we can select our boot device. If we select Windows, it's going to boot up to Windows normally. However, if we select the second option, PNY USB 2.0, it's going to boot from, now it's going to display a different name depending on what flash drive you used, but it's usually going to be the second option. It's probably going to say USB or the name of the USB manufacturer. So we're just going to select this, and it's going to boot. It's going to give you a menu like this. So it's very important you do not select OEM install. If you do, it's going to install Ubuntu. So we have all these options. It's very important you do not select OEM install. If you do, it's going to basically install on your computer, which you do not want. Unless you are intending to install it on maybe like an old computer that you're trying to revive, don't install it. You're going to select Ubuntu, the regular Ubuntu. You're just going to select it, and it's going to boot into Ubuntu. Okay, so you may or may not be presented with a checking disks thing. You're just going to press Control C. As you can see, you're going to press Control C, and it should cancel the file system checks. So I'm not 100% sure what the file system checks do, but I'm just going to click Control C because I think it's unnecessary and I just want to get to the OS. Once it's finished, it should take you to a screen like this. It's different depending on what Linux distro you're using, but it should be something like this, especially with Ubuntu. So we got two options: we can install Ubuntu and we can try Ubuntu. Now we're gonna click try Ubuntu. Now if you want to install Ubuntu on, like, let's say a computer, maybe like an old computer or some other computer you're trying to revive, you can click that. But if you just want to try it out and run it off of the flash drive, then click try Ubuntu. And of course you can select the English or select the language there. Okay, so now we have officially gotten our Linux distro on our computer running off of a USB thumb drive. So here it is, Ubuntu Linux. It might be a little slow and sluggish at first, but you just have to give it a little while and it should pick up the pace. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you guys learned something from this. So thank you guys for watching, comment, like, and subscribe, and I am going to be making more of these videos in the future. Bye. Computer also. So again, running two operating systems. I was making noise. Also, if you're running, oh my gosh, the dog's barking. Very ideal. Let's try that again. I'm so stupid.